Hello, good evening. Sorry, got a bit delayed. There was a power failure at home. Okay, so um, so welcome back to another session of AMA Ask Me Anything. So these sessions happen every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time on my YouTube channel. So normally what happens is I talk on a subject for about 5-7 minutes, and then it's open to questions. You can ask questions from the topic which I spoke, or any topic. I'll try to answer to the best of my capacity. Okay, so today we have come with the second part of the Vegas. So last week we spoke about Adharaneeya Vegas, the urges which are not supposed to be suppressed. And today we are going to talk about the Dharaneeya Vegas. Those are the urges which have to be suppressed. Okay, so slightly different. It might be slightly interesting for you also. Now, what are Vegas? Okay, Vegas means quick. You know, they just come. They're very quick, and quick action has to be taken. So when they are Adharanya Vegas, that means the urges which are not supposed to be suppressed, like hunger, or you want to pass urine, or you want to go pass bowels. Those are not supposed to be suppressed. You have to take immediate action. Now the Dharaniya Vegas. Okay, Dharaniya Vegas are also things which come pretty fast. Okay, and those are the ones which also you have to take action against them. In Adharinya Vegas, you have to go and take care of that by indulging in it, and in Dharaniya Vegas, you have to control them. Okay, so two different things. So Adharinya Vegas and Dharaniya Vegas. Now, let us look into what are the Dharaniya Vegas. So classification: Dharaniya to be suppressed, Adharaniya not to be suppressed. Adharaniya Vegas is a topic which we discussed last week, and Dharaniya are the ones which are supposed to be suppressed, which we are going to talk this week. Done? Okay. Now, Dharayet Sada Vegan. Okay. Hitakshi Prayataya cha iha cha Lobha Irchudesha Matsarya Ragadinam Jitendriya. Okay, leave the last two lines, the first two lines. Okay, Dharayet Sada Vegan. Control, or Sada means always. Vegan means the urges. Okay, Hitekshi Pretya cha Iha cha. Then Jitendriya, you said, to become good in life, to have a controlled and fulfilled life. Pretya cha. Pretya means after you become preta. That means after you are dead. That means in the next world. Okay. Cha ihya cha. Or in this world. So if you have to have a fruitful life in this world and in the next world, okay, you have to control these Vegas. And those Vegas are Lobha, Irsha, Dvesha, Matsarya, Raga, Adinam. Okay. Jitendriya, you have to control your senses for all these things. Now we'll see one by one what are the Dharaniya Vegas. Okay. Lobha. Lobha is greed. Okay. Irsha is jealousy. Dvesha is hatred. Okay. Matsarya is envy, and Raga is desire. So when you look at Jitendriya, he said, okay, that means you have to win over your senses. It is your senses basically which play games with your mind, and you start getting all these feelings. Lobha is greed. So here, it is always said in Trikarana Shuddhi has to be there. That means your Shuddhi, or your cleanliness in your mind or in your body, okay, or in your action. So it happens in three levels: Manasa, Vacha, Karmana. By mind or by thought, Vacha by word, or by karma or by action. These three levels you have to be clean. So when you say about greed, or you want to get something from somebody, the thought itself is not good. Okay, then you should not talk about it, and then you should not act on it. So everything, what the all as far as your indulgence in everyday activities, like anger, you should not feel anger, you should not talk angrily, or you should not act upon anger. So everything is on three levels. Okay, so Lobha, Irsha, Dvesha, Matsarya, and Raga, Adinam, etc. These are the things which has to be taken care. You have to control these things. Jitendriya, that means you have to win over your senses, which can get carried away. Then only you will have a fruitful life, iha, here, and para, in the other world also. But if you look into the Puranas and into the Dharma Shastras, you have heard of the word called Arishat or Shat Ari, 6 enemies. You've got 6 enemies of the mind. Arishat Varga. Varga is just group. Okay. When all the 6 put together, we call that Arishat Varga. There you go. Arishat Varga. Okay. Kama, that's desire. Okay. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Maha, Madamascharya. Okay. Arishat Vargam. 6. So Kama is desire. Krodha is anger. Lobha is greed. Moha is delusion. Okay. Mada is your ego or your pride. And Matsarya is your envy. Okay. Your envy or you're jealous about some other people's success. So if these 6 things are controlled, that means you should not fall prey to these feelings. Then you become successful. Okay. So what else? So then again, roga sarvepi jayante. All diseases occur. Jayante or means they come. Why? Vego dharana udiranat. When you control or you try to, what do you call, force things, So your control, you have to control certain vegas and you should not control certain vegas. So you should know what to control, you should know what not to control. That is where your health is. Okay, you can start asking your questions. There you go. Good evening Tejshramurthy. Grabara. Good evening. I have bouts of anger. I'm very Vata Pitta type. Any suggestions? I understand. Normally, anger. See, when you look at what we have been taught, and that's what the Shastra says, anger is not bad. Anger is sometimes necessary for you to use as a tool. Say, for example, which I always say, your child is walking towards fire. You have put something on the stove. Your child is going to touch the vessel, which is very hot. Okay. You suddenly say, hey, don't touch it. You get, and the child suddenly gets, the child sees your anger and, the child is shocked or whatever it is, the child moves away from that. But inside of you, you were more concerned. Your love was more, but you used anger as a tool. So as long as you use anger, okay, and things like that as a tool, you are okay. But if you start getting angry, then it is a problem. Okay. And major reason for anger, okay, now Grabara, I think your name is, the main reason for anger is attachment. That means you are attached to something, might be some result or some people or something, and you have got your preferences. And if things don't happen the way you want it to happen, you get angry. So the first thing is that you should always understand and realize that in this world, things don't happen the way you want to happen. If you want, for example, if you want your neighbor, just giving an example, okay, if you want your neighbor is going for an interview, okay, job interview, and you don't like her really well, then you might pray, oh God, see that, or whatever it is, see that she doesn't get through the interview. Her other neighbor who's really in love with her would say, oh God, see that she gets through the interview. So which one will God listen to, or how will it happen? If it happens the way you want to have, you want it to happen, it's not, the result is in a certain way. If it happens in other way, it happens in another way. So here you look at, the whole world, the universal law is such that we don't have too much of control. But there is a universal law which is fair, it evens things out. So the main reason why we get angry is because a lot of things don't work the way we want it to work. A lot of people don't work the way you prefer some people to do certain things in a certain way. When they don't comply to that or certain things, you get anger. So anger always comes out of attachment. That is where, you have to work on. And anything, any food or something which can increase pitta. It can be spicy, sour, salty, excess, okay? Or it can be alcohol or activities that too much of exercise or not sleeping at night will increase the pitta. That can also increase your anger. But by and large, start getting detached from things, your anger will automatically go down. Okay. Good evening, Ramesh Maharaj. My husband is Vata type in late 70s. He does moderate daily exercise. Should he reduce ghee intake? Um, you know, um, Ghee is actually good for health. The sense, uh, like just like your machine needs lubrication, your body also needs lubrication. Ghee is actually a very good thing for your husband to consume because he's 70. He's already into the Vata age. Okay, so only thing is that it all depends upon his digestion, how much he can digest. So there is no fixed quantity as to how much ghee he can consume. But one thing you have to note is that when he does consume ghee, that ghee actually takes some time to digest. And you might be noticing that his skin might slowly start getting dry because of vata and age. How much ever you apply externally, it's got a certain limit to which it can lubricate. Lubrication always has to come from within. So he takes ghee, and if he is completely sedentary, then that ghee can lead to complications like he puts on weight or cholesterol can go up. But if he takes ghee and if he does exercise moderately, that ghee gets digested, and it reaches each and every cell and also the skin and stuff like that. So you notice that when somebody sweats a lot, you see that the skin releases a little bit of oil. That oil goes down once you get older. That is being replenished by the ghee, and ghee will start coming out. I mean, the effect of the ghee, okay, lubrication will start coming out from the skin, and they will feel much better. So it is good for your husband to consume ghee, but dose and all, it depends upon how much he can digest. And exercise, I would say, since he's 70, I would say mild to moderate would be good for him. Yeah, Ramesh Maharaj. Muscle building. Okay, muscle build. See, you should notice that muscle does not build by you consuming protein. Okay, protein, yes, it will feed the muscles, but if your muscles have to really be toned and strong, you have to give it resistance. In the sense, you have to work out. So if you are taking protein and you don't do anything, it's very difficult for that protein to get digested. Yes, muscle might get a little bit of nourishment, but if you really want to get your muscles stronger and build it, you have to really give it a little bit of resistance. In the sense, it can be, you can use your own body weight, you can do push-ups, you can do pull-ups, you can do sit-ups, all those things you can do. You can also lift a little bit of weight. So when you lift weight, or in the sense, when you do floor exercises, your muscles go through some serious workout or strain. So resistance happens in the muscle. So when there is resistance, muscles actually build. Just by consuming protein, muscles will not build. So exercise is the only way you can build muscles. And I don't want you to build really big muscles. I want you to have muscles which are strong and toned. Okay, rather than having big muscles. If you want to have big muscles, bodybuilding and all, that is not exercise, that is not health, that is basically a sport. Okay, where where your food habits change, you take a lot of medicines and stuff like that, and you really build it big. That is not exercise, that is a sport. Tejas Shriram, since you eat 2 times a day, you will have lunch directly at noon, you won't have anything before. No, yes, that's what I do. I normally have my lunch directly. Okay, then don't have a very, very, very late dinner. Sleep well. Okay, and get up in the morning. Do whatever you have to do, your daily activities. You can go for a walk, some exercises, come back and have an early lunch. That's it. That's what you mean by eating twice. So, a person who eats twice is called a bhogi as far as Ayurveda goes. Bhogi is a person who enjoys, who indulges in worldly activities are called a bhogi. So person who eats twice is a bhogi. Okay, person who eats only once is a yogi. And I would not advise anybody to eat only once if you are still engaged in some worldly activities like going to office, sitting and working and stuff like that. For a yogi, he's always idle. He doesn't move too much. He probably reads something into spiritual activities. He doesn't spend too much of physical energy. For him, once food is enough. But for a person who is in the worldly life, again, depending upon your office hours and stuff like that, it can be thrice, but twice is more than enough. If you have fixed timings and you're eating decent food in decent quantities, twice daily is enough. Morning, Gary. My wife wants to know if she should take ghee with a glass of warm milk. She takes at night. If so, take the ghee in the milk or separate. Thanks. You can actually mix the ghee in milk. It's not a problem. You can do it in such a way that suppose you are drinking, say for example, 200 ml of milk. Okay, I would say about 6 ounces or 6 or 7 ounces. You can take 2 ounces of milk, hot milk, mix the ghee into it. Okay, and then drink it, and then drink the remaining milk on top of it. Don't give a gap. Okay, for you to mix the ghee, you can heat the milk a little bit more so that the ghee melts and gets mixed into the milk. You can drink it first, and then you can drink the remaining milk. Or you can drink a little bit of milk, drink this, and finish it off. The when the heat of the milk will actually help the ghee melt, so that makes it easily drinkable. Otherwise, what you can do is you can take ghee, and then when you swallow it, leaves a coating in the mouth, then it should be followed by hot milk. Either way is fine, no problem. Yep. Welcome. Yeah. Prasad. Namaskaram. How does Ayurveda suggest suppression of the Shat-Ari? In this age, I feel anger and desire seems to be the most vulnerable to. Is Kamajayi Mudra beneficial? Prasad, I'm sorry, I don't know what is Kamajayi Mudra. Okay, if it works, it's good. If you have got it, if you have been instructed by a guru to do that, well and good. But the Shat-Ari or the six enemies of the mind. Ayurveda, how does it suggest? It basically says, what? Dhairya Atma Vijnanam. Manoroga Ushadam Param. This is basically a mental disease, okay? Which one? This Shat-Ari. So Dhairya Atma. Means, intelligence. That means getting knowledge. Most people, who get angry and who have got desire and lust and stuff are people who are not knowledgeable. I don't say they don't have degrees or they have not scored 100 marks in the science and physics. That's not what I mean. It is basically knowledge about how this human mind works, how the world works, knowledge about that. Hardcore spiritual knowledge. So that is what you mean by Dhi. That is Buddhi. Okay, and the human buddhi is such that you have got vivechana buddhi. That means animals work on emotions. Okay, humans have evolved in such a way they know what is good, they know what is bad. When you're thinking like this is good or bad, doing this are good or bad, talking is good or bad, humans know, but still they indulge in that. So knowing that and acting accordingly is very important. Okay, so D is very important. Dhairya is something that is your confidence, that when you are going through such issues, when you open up to people, like it can be a counselor or a therapist or somebody, they give you the confidence and strength and stuff like that. Dhairya is something that is always necessary. If somebody is going through issues, you need people or you need some support. Dhairya. Atmadi Vijnanam. Atmadi Vijnanam is basically the highest, Brahman, knowledge of Brahman. That when you come to this world, you came with nothing. And when you are going back with nothing. So why do you want to fight over things which you never brought or you're never going to take back? That is the highest knowledge of Brahman. Atmadi Vijnanam. Once that is very clear with you, then there is no grabbing things from people, no, no stealing, no nothing. Why do you want to hurt people? So I hope you're able to understand, Prasad. So it's very important. Dhairya Atma di Vijnanam Manoroga Aushadham Param. The best Aushadham, best treatment for that is these three things. Okay. And Kamajaya Mudra, I don't know. Yes, Mr. Miss, or I suppose so. But how to deal with seasonal allergies? Taking antihistamine makes me sleepy. Antihistamine actually suppresses your body's capability to react to that is causing an allergy. That is not treatment. So basically, it tries to suppress what reacts to it. That means your immunity is basically immunity that reacts to something which is causing an allergy. So if you keep on suppressing that, actually what has to happen is your immunity has to be so good that these things don't affect, right? So your approach itself might not be right here. Antihistamine is trying to suppress the whole body. It's like taking a painkiller. You have got knee pain, you take a painkiller and you say my pain is gone. Your pain is not gone. The painkiller will suppress the pain. That means the pain is still there, but it has numbed your sensation to feel the pain. Likewise, antihistamine, your itching is there, but it basically suppresses the body's capability to react to that what is causing allergy. Okay. So it is never good 100%. When your immunity, everything is pulled down, you will feel sleepy. Okay. So first thing what you have to know is, you mean to say the seasonal allergies, what is getting triggered in your body? Because see, when there are allergens out there, what is getting triggered in your body, that has to be taken care of. It's very difficult for you to cut the whole environment out, which actually is a good idea. If you feel that there is a lot of pollens out there or dust out there, you can wear a mask and you can cut a lot of things which are causing allergy. Apart from them, what you can do is you can basically try to understand, because if there isn't too much of kapha, okay, allergies will not have a a base to work on. So getting your kapha out of the system is very important here. But okay, you have to undergo treatment to remove that the base where allergens can go and work. Second thing is that if you, as much as possible, initially if you can cut what is causing allergy, that is also very important, because we say nidana parivarjanam chikitsa. Removal of causative factor is very important. One is the external causative factor, and one which is there in your body which is getting triggered. Both have to be taken care of. Thanks. Yeah. Namaste. It's all His Grace, Ramesh Maharaj. What to do to make transition from summer to fall dosha? Okay. Summer is a time, where Vata undergoes Chaya. Okay, in the sense, Vata slowly starts accumulating and it's extremely hot. So in that season, Acharya says very, very, very clearly, Kattuamlas patustejet. Pattuamlas katustejet. Patu means salt, amla is sour, katu is spicy. You have to avoid these three tastes during the peak summer. Then what? Arkas vyayamas tejet. Avoid exercise, avoid getting exposed to direct hot sun. Okay. So exercise, when he says avoid exercise, in those days when you look, they had to do a lot of physical activity to get anything done. If they have to go to the shop, might be about a kilometer far away. These are the days where there were no cycles, nothing. They had to walk. Even any season, summer also they had to walk. So when you are physically active during summer season, you don't have to do exercise on top of it, is what you should understand. That doesn't mean the textbook says don't do exercise in summer, so I completely avoid. But if you're somebody who's physically active, doing other things during a summer, then I would say you can go very low on exercise. Okay. Getting exposed to sun is also bad. These are very, very, very strong things which you're not supposed to do in summer. But as the fall comes, the next season, normally in Kerala, after the summer, it's the rainy season. Okay, the rains start. So rain is where the Vata undergoes Kopa. The Vata actually goes up because suddenly it starts raining after the heat. So I'll tell you, in fall also what happens is it slowly starts getting slightly cooler than what it was during the summer. So your vata slowly starts going up because it starts becoming cool. Your pitta slowly starts getting better, but it is not stable. So in this season, I would say you have to take care of your digestion. That's the most important thing. You can't start exercising too much. Okay, you can't overeat. You'll slowly start feeling hungry, that's for sure. Okay, but you are not supposed to overeat. You have to slowly start transitioning, because during the summer, because it was very hot, now you have got air conditioned environment, it's all controlled environment, you'll definitely feel hungry. But if you are somebody who's getting exposed to summer, you'll notice that the hunger is not as good as supposed to be. You are happy drinking just water, liquid diet, and stuff like that. Okay, so as it starts getting into the fall, it starts getting slightly cooler. Your pitta slowly starts coming up, but it is unpredictable. It slowly starts coming up. So don't suddenly start feeding your agni too much. Go low on food. Okay, so take care that your metabolism is fine. Your exercise can slowly, you can slowly start exercising. Spicy sour food and all, not too much. Okay, and start doing your abhyangam on a regular basis. Okay. Is it better to take ghee with warm water in the morning or night? Is it better with water or milk? Okay. It depends upon for what you are consuming the ghee. Let me put it that way. Each, you see, in Ayurveda we have got Aushadha Sevana Kala. 10 Aushadha Sevana. Aushadha means medicine, Sevana means consuming, Kala means time. So you have got having medicines on empty stomach, having medicines before food, having medicines mixed with food, having medicines in the middle of food, having medicines in the end of food, morning food, having medicines in the end of night food. Okay, having food in the middle of food, lot of thing. Okay, having medicines more than multiple times. You understood, right? And having food mixed completely with food, and then having food at bedtime. So you have got 10 different ways in which you can have medicine. So it depends upon for what you are consuming that ghee. Then I would say sometimes if you're consuming for you're not able to lift your hand, or you're having problem with movements, I would say that ghee, probably if it is medicated ghee specifically meant for that, then that should be consumed after your morning food. If you're looking for memory thing and stuff, it has to be that ghee should be consumed after dinner. If you are looking for something where you have got problems with any diseases above the neck, then you should have that ghee at bedtime. I hope it is clear for you. But so I can't say that yes, this is a time where you should have your ghee. But by and large, if you take a little bit of ghee at bedtime, throughout then you have a lot of time at night, it will get digested really well. If your only focus is to see that your ghee gets digested, or getting up early morning and having ghee and not having something for about couple of hours, that will also help the ghee digest faster. But then if you're looking for specific result from that ghee as far as your health goes, then you have to decide when you have to have it. Okay. Manjari, namaste. Chavanaprash has many ingredients. It's safe to take one spoon every day. If so, at what time? Chavanaprash has many ingredients, 52. Okay. Is it safe to take one spoon every day? Yes, you can definitely have 1 spoon to 1 tablespoon also, no problem, every day. Immediately after breakfast would be the best thing. If I would suggest, you can cut down the amount of breakfast you have. You can have 1 tablespoon of Chavanaprash followed by at least about 200 ml of warm milk. Then you feel really good. You can consume it on a regular basis. Absolutely don't worry at all. You will feel really good about it. Okay. But some parts of life are always going to be incomplete. No more. By design, some parts of our life are always going to be incomplete no matter what we do. How to settle with this? Fight to get it or sacrifice it. Atul Gaikwad. You mean parts in the sense something which you thought of completing. Like, for example, I'm thinking that, okay, in the next 5 years, I will construct a house in probably in Bangalore, say, for example. and it so happens that I die within 2 years. So what happens? What I thought of doing got incomplete. Okay, so what all things which we plan are actually limited to our buddhi or our capacity to think. Okay, but our end was already destined. It's our calculation that we want to do that, we want to do this, we want to do that. But why are we actually here? That's a question, right? Are you actually starting your journey because you have your soul? Let me go it that way. Your soul is a part of that which came from your jivatma came from the paramatma, and your soul purpose is to basically get back to paramatma. Are you on that path is the only question. Okay, other things, worldly things, owning a Benz, owning a BMW, getting a house, getting a farmland, getting married, having children, children going becoming doctors, and all those things are things which we accumulate during this life. Hope you're able to understand that. Okay, so that is where I said, when you get that atma jnanam, that okay, these things, I don't say these things are bad. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Okay, dharma is you are standing on right. That means you are not cheating anybody. You whatever you make is all from the right path. Dharma, you are always on the right path. Right? Yes. Dharma, artha is basically you accumulating things. Nobody's told you not to make money, not to have house, not to have wife, not to have servants, not to have driver, car. Nobody says. That means you're accumulating wealth. Artha. Kama is basic. You have accumulated wealth. Then what do? You have to enjoy all those things. Nobody tells you not to enjoy all those things. But as you keep on doing that, you'll understand that you don't bring anything. You're not going to take back anything. So why get too attached to all those things? That is where moksha starts. So if you're on that path, then you're fighting with your neighbor, or you're fighting with your superior or inferior, or your superior boss or somebody who's working under you, and playing games, politics and all those things in the office and all those things will cease to exist. Then you grow beyond that. So we don't know whether you want to fight and what is sacrifice. All those things are things which you have to think for yourself. I would say nobody has sacrificed anything for anybody here. It was all destined, and they have done it. Life, see, I don't want to talk about people who fight on the border, army, and all those things. Otherwise, when parents say, I sacrificed my whole life for the children, it is not true. They always had a choice, and moreover, the mother and father taking care of the children is their dharma, which they cannot compromise on that. They have to do it. Likewise, children, you cannot say, I sacrificed my job so that I could take care of my parents. Nobody asked you to do it. But it is your dharma to see that your parents are well taken care of. If you can do it directly, really good. If you can't do it directly, get somebody who's responsible, whom you monitor, who will take care of your parents. They have to be taken care of. So where the sacrifice comes is something which you have to think. It's again differs from person to person. Okay, Atul? It's becoming too philosophical now. You have mentioned earlier that you enjoy reading topics related to Advaita Vedanta. Any recommendation related to Shadari? No, Shadari, you see, all the Puranas and all the Dharma Vyakhyanas of Indian philosophy talks about Shadari. So there isn't too many things which you have to. It's just a mention of Arishat Varga. You have got lots and lots of books are there. If you just type Arishat Varga on Google itself, you will get tons and tons of material. Okay, so it is not a very complicated topic, Arishat Varga. But book wise, I don't know where you can get it, but I think probably you can do your own search on Google and you can find some good book and you can go through that. Okay, Arishat Varga is not very, very, very confusing. My allergies affect the couple, lots of sneezing, and yeah. You have to see two things, as I said. First of all, what you have to do is you have to protect yourself. Firewall, I call that. You have to protect yourself from what is causing allergy. And second thing is that you have to get rid of the thing what is actually being triggered inside your body. For that, I would say you can probably go and consult a good Ayurvedic doctor close to your place. Get in touch with a good doctor, and then you can follow them, and then you can get it done. But okay. Are we coming to an end? Yes. How about cleansing with light food such as khichdi in the transition time in early fall? Yeah. And Grabara, I would say, sometimes I am not extremely convinced. Let me put it this way. It might confuse you sometimes that khichdi is very light. Okay. Because rice is not something which is very light. And you are adding moong into that. Okay, you are cooking it. Yes, I do understand. Becomes like, then you are adding ghee into it, and then you are, and you are having it. Again depends upon how much quantity you have. Okay. um, Khichdi is not as light as rice kanji, or you cook the rice with excess of water, you drain the water out, the starch, and add a little bit of rice into it and have it. That is much light. Only the liquid is extremely light. Then when you add a little bit of rice into it, it becomes slightly more heavier. Okay, so that is how, and slowly manda peya, vilepi, and all those things, khichdi and all those things come slightly late. The sense, even though I see a lot of people who take khichdi thinking that it is very light. It is not that light as you think. Okay, so but as you said, yes, light food can be definitely taken when the season changes from summer. Khichdi, if you take in small quantities, it's perfectly fine. But if you take khichdi in large quantities, it becomes guru or heavy. Even light food, when taken in larger quantities, becomes guru. Okay, quantity matters here. Okay, I want to reduce vata, if I'm right. That's not data. When do I? If I want to reduce vata, when do I? See, vata is something which to reduce vata, you should first understand what are you doing for the vata to go up. Okay, the properties of vata: ruksha, lagu, shita, khara, sukshma. Okay, ruksha is dry, khara is rough, tata ruksha, lagu is light, sukshma is. So you might be indulging in a few things which are actually increasing the vata. Waking up at Ratri Jagarnam Ruksham, staying up at night is Ruksha, your Vata will definitely go up. Okay, Upavasam, Laghavam. When you do anything that will actually make you lighter, Vata will go up. For people whose Vata is high, you're not supposed to do fasting. Okay, not supposed to cut down on a lot of food, not supposed to do too much of exercise. So if you indulge in if you take care of these activities, food and activities, your vata will definitely come down. And I want you to be more sthira guna, the stationary guna. Okay, be more stationary rather than running around and doing stuff. If you're more stationary or traveling and stuff like that, the more stationary you are, the more your vata comes under control. Okay, and then don't get anxious and think about things where you don't have too much of control. All those things don't help at all. Connect to yourself or get connected to some philosophy in which you believe, which does not hurt you or hurt anybody else. Stay on that. Your vata will automatically come down. Applying oil and taking bath, a lot of things you can do. Staying warm, stuff like that. Is karma real? I think it's just human ego justifying, because it can't live with the fact that prakriti is random. Karma. I think your question, karma, is from the negative side. Karma just means action. Okay, and the karma, which probably the Westerners use, is your effect of something which you do. When you do something good, you get good. When you do something bad, you get bad. That is what I feel the karma, what you mean over here. If you think it is just human ego justifying, because uh, we don't have any control over it, because prakriti is random, yes, but you will notice that whatever you sow, that's the only thing you can grow. And whenever you grow something, only that fruit, that's the only fruit that will come out of it. You understood? So if you are sowing hatred, if you are sowing lust, if you are sowing anger, you cannot get peace out of it. That's what we mean by karma. It is not that you probably shout at somebody, tomorrow somebody will come and shout at you. It is again your mind that is going to get disturbed. So karma is real, okay, but you cannot say, just because I did this, he did that to me, I want the prakriti or the nature to go and you know uh, attack him and do something. It also depends upon what karma he had. See, he might have done only one bad karma to you, and he might have done about thousands of good karma all around. So we don't know how the nature actually tries to balance this whole thing out. But I would say karma is real. Like people say, karma is a boomerang. When you let it out, it will come back and hit you in a different way. Okay. I take ghee, and how much ghee should I take? That's what I just said. If I just explained that, it all depends upon how much of ghee you can comfortably digest. Because ghee, when you look at fire, when we do the homa, we pour, when the fire is there, we keep on pouring little of ghee to see that the fire keeps on burning. So ghee actually helps the fire burn. But accidentally, when you're pouring ghee, if a little bit more ghee falls, you'll see that the fire dies off. So ghee is a double-edged sword. Okay, if you know how much ghee you can digest and how much ghee will actually help your metabolism go up, that is the right quantity for you. If you go less, then it might not nourish enough. If you go more, then it might actually douse the fire. So you should. So, uh, as I said, I always tell people your health is not proportional to what you take or how much you take. Your health is directly proportional to how much you can digest. Look at your digestive capacity and then adjust accordingly. Okay, Archana. Say if someone is married late and for the reason conceived in their early 30s or 30s, can they have a normal, healthy baby with normal delivery provided their body, mind are in healthy condition? Yes, definitely yes, Archana. But will it be as healthy as the child when you conceived at 22, 21, 23? Is again debatable, okay? So, but normally speaking, it's always good to conceive early. But if you conceive late, that doesn't mean that your child would be any inferior. Even if the child is, technically speaking, your body is not as strong as you are when you're 25, when you come to 35 or 40. So the quality of egg, which was in 21, is not as good as the quality which is at 40, because the body is continuously going towards death. So the 25 egg and the 40 egg has to be different. Okay, that doesn't mean that it's going to be heavily different. Likewise, the father, sperm at 25 and sperm at 40 would definitely be slightly different. Okay, which is stronger, with motility, which is good. So these, but this is again a debate. Scientifically they say no, it might not make a difference. But when we look from an Ayurvedic perspective, when you look, it's the body, it's the physical body that is creating all those things. And shariram is something. Shiryate anena the shariram. Body is that which is going towards destruction. And the difference between yesterday and today is that we are one day closer to death. So naturally, the quality of your physical, every physical aspect is not as good as it was when it was 22. Now you think about it. Okay, I can just put it in this way. Okay, that doesn't mean that every child which is born at 20 is healthy and every child which is born at the age of 35 is not healthy. Okay, and as you said, it is very important that the parents stay healthy. Viryavantam sutam sute. Okay, that means the main reason why you are getting fitter, okay, and then you are giving up all your addictions and stuff like that, and you get stronger, so that Viryavantam Sutam Sute. That means you want to bring a child with lot of vigor and vitality into this world. Okay, so it all depends on a lot of factors. So your body, mind, if it's in healthy condition, okay, good. I mean, if I want to reduce vata, when do I take ghee and how much? if you have to reduce vata, see, that is where the confusion is, Jole. Okay, that's the reason why I said, if it is samana vayu, it is after morning breakfast. If it is udana vayu, it is after night food. If it is samana vayu, it is in the middle of food. Okay, you should understand this. Apana vayu is just before food. Okay, different conditions apply here. As I said, generally, if you take 1 teaspoon of ghee at bedtime, or you take 1 spoon of ghee early in the morning, your vata in general goes down. As I said, it doesn't matter too much. But if you want to specifically make that ghee act on a certain vata, then the time of conception matters. My feet becomes dry. Oh, sorry. My feet becomes black every day after doing Padabhyangam with sesame oil. What does this signify, sir? Sesame oil, pure sesame oil. Normally, I've not seen that happen. Applying or if you do it with that, copper vessel. Some people do that, or you do that with panchaloha thing. You will see a little bit of blackish color. That is the metal reacting with heat and oil. Okay. Apart from that, I have not seen something, the feet becoming black, until and unless there is impurities either in the oil or under your feet. Okay, I've not come across that. Tejesh Shuramurthy, what is the logic of not to eat anything during grahana? Okay, see, when we say that when moon dominates, you have got a lot of tamas. I think you know that. Anything you keep overnight, the next day it has tamas. So what happens with grahana? Grahana, what happens is normally the sun is covered by the moon. Okay, the moon dominates. It can be only for might be about 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Okay, what does that consider to be? Whenever moon dominates, tamas is there on the earth. Tamas is there. So don't consume anything that has been cooked before the grahana, that has gone through grahana. Okay, so what normally people do is after the grahana, things like curd, pickles, salt, and all those things don't get affected even at night also. So those things are okay. But anything that is otherwise cooked is not consumed after grahana. So after grahana, it is again one quick night is over. You take a shower, cook afresh, and eat. It has got not, in my opinion, it's got nothing to do. They say the moment the moon comes and covers the sun, you'll have a lot of microbes. See, then there is night over there. You should definitely have microbes. It is not that. It is that it is the day suddenly became night, and then day come. It might be for a very short period. Tamas dominated. Don't have anything during that period of time, and don't eat cooked food which is crossed over grahana. Grahana is eclipse. Okay, for your information. Sorry. Would you like to share what activities are done during this 10 days of Onam period? Onam is, it's a period of celebration. Basically, the story is that our king Mahabali, okay, he was pushed down to Patala, and he comes once in a year. He comes back to see his subjects, his people over here, Praja, to see them, and he was a very righteous king, and everything was in abundance when he ruled. So he is in that memory. So when he comes back, he wants to see his own people. So people believe that Mahabali comes through Kerala for about 10 days and travels everywhere. So we project ourselves, at least, even if you're good or bad or whatever it is. With there's a saying in Malayalam, whatever you have with that, you celebrate. So Onam is basically celebration for the next 10 days. Okay, 10 days you put flowers in front of your house, you create that column and stuff like, it's all fun. You play games, okay, and then tug of war, lot of things you play. Okay, and then you have good food. That's all about Onam, and it is it in my way, it is celebration basically. It is not about eating very healthy and stuff. No, enjoy those 10 days. That's what it probably comes after your harvest, right? So enjoy. Basically, it comes after your we call that Panyamasam or the Karkataka Masam, where you don't have it's a heavy rains, the sun really comes out, and once the sun comes out, you're celebrating for the next 10 days. Enjoy 10 days. Any health alternative for sanitary napkins can be made with natural materials and chemical free. Archana Ganol. See, if you should ask your mother or your grandmother, sorry, what did they use as sanitary napkins? You will notice that they would have used very soft cotton cloth. Okay, that is extremely healthy. So you can fold that and then you can use it. You have to change it every time and you have to wash it really well. Okay, and it is not impure. Okay, Ayurveda says laksharasas sashasrabha dhautum yachana virajyati. Okay, laksharasas lak, LAC it is called, which is used to stamp things red in color. So it's basically the color of that. Okay, dhautum yacha virajyati. It does not leave a stain when washed. That means if you don't have any issues with your periods, so if you have got period issues, clots, and other imbalances, then it might leave a stain. But otherwise, it is pure. So you can only think chemical free. You can use a piece, fold cotton piece, and you can use it. Take it out, wash it really well, dry it, reuse it. Okay. What topic for next week? Next week is 7 days. Let's see. We have got Onam coming up. So let's see whether I'll be able to do a topic or not. As you said, your next 10 days enjoy. So let us see if possible we'll do have. Otherwise, we might skip a week also. Okay, let us see. How do you categorize tofu as a food to eat frequently? Does tofu affect the clog and channels in a negative way? Tofu is something which comes from soya. Okay, it is not something which is very easy to digest, just like paneer. Okay, if taken in there's nothing called good or bad. If taken in moderation, and if you're somebody who does regular exercises to actually burn it really well, then I think tofu is fine, but in moderation. Don't think that tofu is extremely healthy and start indulging in it to more than what it is necessary. Okay, anything, even paneer for that matter, even eggs, even chicken, even rice, even vegetables, everything should be in moderation. Sarva dharmeshu madhyama. Okay. Good night. Happy Onam to all of you.